Sam Winsbury, also known as the Personal Branding King, joined me on the podcast. Sam is the founder of Kurogo. Kurogo helps clients gain clarity on the brand and position them as industry-leading figures. They are also the leading personal brand agency in the UK with some amazing clients. Sam blew me away with his knowledge and intellect around personal branding and what it takes to be the 1% in the space. Sam has helped over 100 clients achieve their personal branding goals, and I hope you learn something from him on this episode. Strap in and enjoy. And subscribe. Thanks. Sam, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I was going to say thank you for being here, but I've come to you. And we're in London and it's very sunny, so I'm glad to be here. I guess for people who don't know you, some context and background, tell us about like early life. Let's go back to like school and like high school, whatever you want to say, college, university, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So do you know what? Actually, quite a sweet childhood, to be fair. Like thinking back to it, it's the classic like live in a tiny village in the English countryside.
Nice.
Didn't like you obviously don't appreciate it at the time when you're like young, but yeah, had a great childhood. Had loads of friends in the village where I grew up. School was comfy. I lived a really nice life. Grew up there pretty much my whole life. Family still in and around the area to this day. And then when I got to, parents, it was interesting actually. My life kind of got flipped on its head a little bit. So I went from this like lovely, nice life in the countryside. Parents split up when I was, just before I was about to go to secondary school actually.
Oh wow. Okay.
Which, I mean, if you could ask for your parents to split up, you'd ask them to do it this way. Like they did everything like for us and it was like perfect and the way they did it was amazing. But I kind of had this weird thing where I went from this like sweet, stable life to things being flipped on its head slightly.
Quite young age as well. What, like 15? 14?
I was like 9 then.
Oh crap, yeah. Secondary school. Oh yeah.
So I was just about to go to secondary school.
Well, that's quite a rough age actually.
Yeah, my brother's...
You're still technically very much a young kid.
Yeah, my brother was a couple of years older as well, so I think he probably had it worse because he understood a little bit more and had just gone to secondary school. But like it wasn't, it's not this, I'm not trying to give a sob story here, but it was like quite a switch, which was interesting. And then, so the family dynamic was kind of disrupted a little bit just before I went to secondary school, but still had an amazing schooling. Went to an incredible school, obviously stayed there until I was, uni. Shipped off to uni, went to Birmingham Uni.
Nice, that's where I'm from.
Shipped off school, yeah.
Which one, Aston or?
Uni of.
Uni of, nice. Yeah, good choice.
Yeah, I had a great time there. Didn't do an awful lot of studying.
Yeah, I was about to say, how much studying was done in
probably
those
not
years?
a lot of studying, but a good load of partying and building the foundations for kind of where I am today. I actually did a lot of work on like the career and the business and everything, which I'm sure we'll come to. Did that and then was due to graduate in 2020. We know what happened then. So all of my exams were cancelled and I kind of had this, it felt like a bit of a free trial at life for like 6 months.
It was no university at all then? Was it just everything closed?
So yeah, literally like I didn't even finish some of my lectures and then
everything
they told
online,
us,
didn't it?
Yeah.
Like the first year after and it was still charging 9,250.
Yeah,
it's
crazy that.
Bastards.
I'm glad I got out like just before it was like, I'm glad I didn't have to do a whole year of it because that would have been so, especially if like you're going in freshers or something, that would have been so bad.
It's rough, man. It was a rough time of life. Although it was kind of fun. I know I didn't get furloughed, but I remember coming back from Canada and it was just like, we're locked down. And it's like, I came back on the Monday at like 4 p.m. and they locked down at 8 p.m. Boris announced that lockdown. Really? I was like, just got back from Canada, shutting the border. And like the whole holiday, I was just like, shit. I went to like Niagara Falls, there was like no one there. It was like, my friends were like, mate, I've lived there my whole life. You would never get this ever. Niagara Falls is heaving every single day. He's like, I've lived here my whole life and never seen it like this. Wow. He's like, you've got very lucky to be able to walk straight to the edge and touch the water.
Every cloud has a silver lining.
Yeah, man. But yeah, it was a good. I mean, it was a bad time and a good time because it had time for us to like focus on ourselves. And I think that's when a lot of like people start. We were saying this before. People start podcasts, blogs, YouTube, stuff like that. Because there's a lot of extra time. But you said you were doing uni at that point.
Yeah. So whilst I was at uni, I was graduating just as the first lockdown came. So I mean, it didn't really affect me too much. It just meant that all my exams were cancelled, and like I just had free time basically. The year prior to that, I'd been like freelancing, doing bits of marketing, starting to put the foundations in place for Kurogo that exists today. So that time was just like basically a free shot to put some time into that, which was really nice. So that summer, just all the time that I would have spent revising and preparing for exams, I just spent basically on like LinkedIn.
That's sick though. I think that's, like you said, it gives you that bit of extra time to kind of focus on something you want to do. And I think as well, so did you graduate then in the end? Yeah. What did you get in the end grade?
I got first.
I knew you were going to say it because you're just a smart person. I mean, I got a 2-1, to be honest. Why does it? I feel like it doesn't matter what you get anymore. Does anyone ask you?
No one has ever asked my
you?
GCSEs, my A levels, my uni grades, and also there's only one person that I've ever taken into account their grades when hiring.
Oh, really?
We've hired 15 people. Actually, I've hired like 20 in my life. We've got a team of 15 now, and there's only one person I've ever like considered their grades.
Jeez. So it doesn't actually mean anything.
It means fuck all.
Oh, man.
Unless you're going for like corporate job.
Yeah, I think a lot of places like they want like masters, they want like doctorates. My little brother's a psychologist. He did like his masters, doing his doctorate. I'm like, he's like 25 and he's still in education. Really? But when he finishes, he'll be like the richest out of all of us. So
yeah,
one of those.
My girlfriend's similar, like architecture. You just have to do it.
7 years, isn't it?
Yeah, she's literally just finished it like last month. So
7 years. It's
wild.
And then I guess university, and then you went into and then when did you start your business? What year was that?
Officially it was 2021.
Okay.
But like I was doing it unofficially as like a freelancer all through 2020 as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then so it's been established for like 2 years.
Just over 2 years, yeah.
Nice. And I guess for those who don't know, it's personal branding, but like and we can go more into that, but what would you say like the USP of the business is, or what is, I'm going to say this wrong. I can't say it. We say
Kurogo.
I was pronouncing it all the way. I was on the tube like Kurogo. People think I'm going to fit on the tube.
No, everyone struggles. So.
Nice, yeah. But what, I guess, where's the name from? It's Japanese. But what's the reason for it?
So the name comes from Japanese theatre. Kurogo. It actually comes from, the original is Kurogo. Okay. But like Kurogo is a derivative of it. And the Kurogo in Japanese theatre are basically stage hands that like move all of the props around at the back of the set, but they actually wear all black, or they wear like whatever the colour of the back of the set is, all black in this case, so that you can't see them. So their role is basically to like give the main act everything they need to do, give them like a platform, make them look good without being seen. Okay. And that is kind of what we do for our clients. So what we do for our clients is essentially work with founders and CEOs, and we turn them into thought leaders through personal branding. So we will manage their socials, give them a strategy for building a personal brand, possibly get them bits of PR, essentially manage their online presence and give them an online presence that is actually representative of the quality of work they're doing offline. But we try and do all of that, give them this platform without people noticing it's us.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a bit of a narrative and a story.
Yeah. No. I think I kind of like that name. That's actually really cool. That's really cool. Was it you that came up with the idea?
Yeah. Yeah. So we were actually originally called Brandly. So when I launched, it was called Brandly.
Brandly.
Yeah, like BRANDLY.
Nice. Okay.
Which is like the brand was so bad, like it was embarrassing.
Was the logo bad?
Oh mate.
Did you do it on Canva?
Yeah, I think I might have done, to be fair. I genuinely think I did, honestly. But like, that's kind of what you got to do when you're just starting,
mate,
right?
You
like,
see my logo, I drew it on a piece of paper. It looks like a piece of shit.
Yeah.
I had to get my little brother to draw it. I had to get my other friend to draw it and then design it. And I was like, this is what I drew. It literally looks terrible. And I'll send you, I'll let you after, I'll send you what it was supposed to look like. Good. And you'll laugh. You'll be like, what? I'm so glad that we didn't go with that idea. But no, that's interesting. That's a really, really cool name. And you got over 100 clients?
I've worked with over 130 people to build their personal brands, but that's since I freelanced at uni.
Okay.
Kurogo itself, we've probably worked with over 100, I'd imagine.
And is that Europe, Asia based mainly? So
we've done predominantly UK, but also US, Middle East. We've had clients as far as New Zealand. We've had clients in France. So
nice.
Global.
That's cool though, because it's like you can say you're a global personal branding. Would you say agency?
Yeah, agency.
Yeah.
We've got staff all over the world as well. So we've got staff all over the UK. One's in the process of moving out to the States.
Nice.
Probably be in the States by the time this goes live. We've had team in Portugal, we got team in Cyprus, Pakistan.
Nice.
So
Do you travel a lot then to go to see him, or
not as much as you'd think.
Okay.
It's tough, like we'd love to do it, and it's having like a remote company. It's important to get people together and see people, but it's tough to fit it into everyone's schedules and line it up. So don't do too much, but every now and then. I was out in Dubai earlier in the year for a bit of like basically establishing our base there, which we'd like to do. So a little bit, hopefully more and more in the next couple of years.
Yeah, nice. I was going to say, if you've got clients and people out there, man,
it's a great excuse, by the way.
Absolutely. Those air miles racked up. I'm saying, like, that'd be so good.
Yeah.
I guess personal branding, because it's been like a hot topic, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Especially in the last 6 months, a year. I only heard of it for the first time about 3 years ago, and it's because someone asked me to like their post on LinkedIn because they were like trying to get the personal brand up, and I was like, what's that?
Yeah.
And now I've realized I realized I was actually doing it when someone said, I like your personal brand. I'm like, what's that? I'm like, oh, you mean what I put out? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, oh. So I'm like, that's obviously nice. I didn't know what it was. But I guess for people who don't know what personal branding is, how do you sum it up, if you could?
Yeah, the way I always describe it is it's not forging a false representation of yourself.
No.
It's creating a more accurate reputation for yourself based on the experiences, the expertise, the values, the personality that you do actually have. So it's like framing who you are as a person, as a professional, in a more accurate way. It's doing that with intent and purpose.
Okay, makes sense. I guess this isn't actually one of my questions, but it's just come to my head. If say someone was leaving university and they wanted to make themselves a bit more present, like be a bit more presence in, like, say, marketing or whatever it is, branding, what are like 3 personal branding tips you give someone to start off, like straight off the bat?
Yeah, so number one thing is just do something to separate yourself. Like if you think about what everyone does when they go and if they're applying for a job, or if you want to run your own business and you're trying to get clients, what does everyone do? Like, let's take the going for jobs example. They just send in a CV, and it's like, you do the CV and then you do an interview, and it's like, great, everyone looks good on a CV because you write it to look good.
And also people lie.
and you can lie.
I mean, I don't lie on mine.
Yeah, you sure?
I speak 10 languages.
Yeah. But yeah, like, what does everyone do? They put a CV where like everyone lies or you just look the same. It's designed to look good. And then you do an interview. I'm sorry, but anyone can look good on an interview for 30 minutes or an hour.
Yes.
But what not everyone can do is look good online for 6 months on repeat.
Yeah.
So literally just like post content on social, share your thoughts, your ideas, share things that you're learning and post it online, whether that's on Instagram, whether it's on LinkedIn, wherever it is, even if you start your own blog. Just do that consistently. It doesn't even have to be that amazing. Like, don't try and go after getting 100,000 followers or whatever. Just post it, because even doing that sets you apart from everybody else and puts you in like the top 10% of graduates, basically.
Yeah.
So that's definitely the first thing I would do. It's way harder to fake, and then get as much experience as you can. And I would never expect or ask anyone to work for free for me. I want to make that clear.
Okay.
But if I was in that position right now, what I would do is I would just pick like 3 people or even one person that I admire and that I look up to, and I'd say, can I work for free for you for a month? And if you like my work after a month, maybe we can talk about an ongoing role. But I just want to work for free, or can I shadow you and get some experience? Just go to someone that you admire and offer them free value. Work for free. I promise you it will do more for your career than anything else. Yeah. It's pretty much how I got started in business. It's like, it's the fast track route.
You're like you're the second person to tell me that, like that, to say that's advice. And I literally had the exact same conversation with someone who was like, it was like going into market. I think it was first year of uni, going into marketing. And it was like, how do I get more experience? I had a friend whose dad was like the CMO of Microsoft for like 15 years, absolute top dog. He was the first podcast guest I did, Jez. And he said to me, he's like, mate, just, if he goes, how much time do you offer in summer? I was like, 3 months, like June, July. Because obviously university, you get like so much time off. He was like, do you have any plans? I was not really. He's like, where do you want to work? And I was like, Microsoft and like these places. He was like, okay. It's like, okay, 2 weeks at Microsoft, free. He's like, it's gonna be free. Obviously you have to pay for your travel, pay for all that stuff. So it actually is detrimental to you in a way, because you're essentially putting money into something like travel, 2 weeks of living, whatever it is. But he's like, you'll get the most exposure you've ever seen in 2 weeks. And then I literally just spent the next 2 years, summer, just interning at places. And honestly now, go to interviews, even now, people are like, oh, we saw you worked at Microsoft in 2016. I don't tell them it was 2 weeks. Tell them it was, because obviously on LinkedIn, so it's like, I did it for a month, obviously. And I was like, yeah, I was in the Xbox department, which I was. I got to see all the new Xbox before it came out. Yeah. And I was like, I remember leaving, I was like, this is sick. Yeah. And I was just like doing this for free, but I didn't care. And I think that's really, really good advice. But I think there's this thing, especially in like Leeds where I work and stuff and went to uni, a lot of recruiters who work there, they promote jobs and stuff all the time on LinkedIn. And it's like unpaid work, or it's like £5 an hour or something ridiculous. And I was like, I don't understand. I mean, I get like getting the experience and the exposure, but then especially what we're living, like the current climate we're living in and cost of living, it's like expecting like a 21-year-old to work for free and then survive on university. Yeah. But then again, it comes hand in hand, right? Like you got to put the effort in to get rewards, right?
Yeah. As an employer, I think it's wrong to expect someone to do that. I'm wrong to ask people. I'd never do that. But if I was looking 100%. To develop my career, it's just put your ego away and do it, and make the sacrifice if you really want something that bad.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Nice one. What was the first point? What was it? Personal branding, 3 tips. It was
so post
a lot,
things that you're doing, whether it's
and I was going to ask you if we could pause because I feel like I was going further back. All right, I have to cut that bit. Okay.
Tiny bit more. Yeah.
I'm gonna sit more like this. Is that all right?
Yeah, that's perfect.
This is perfect. Nice one. Cool. Let's carry on.
Yep.
Nice one. So yeah, 3 top tips for someone leaving university or just starting the career and needs to get a personal branding up. What was it? So it was
like post on LinkedIn or blog or however it is. If it's YouTube channel, however it is, just get some evidence of the work you're doing or what you're learning online for people to see, and stick with it for at least 6 months. Doing it for 2 weeks is not long enough.
No.
Start a podcast. Just go and interview people.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. Second thing is go and work for free for someone that you admire, someone that's big or in your dream role. And the third thing I'd say, just get out and network, get in the field.
Yeah.
Message people on LinkedIn, go to events, just get your name and your face out there. It's the kind of thing that doesn't scale. It might seem like you're wasting your time, but I promise you in a year's time, 5 years' time, 10 years' time, it will pay dividends.
Yeah, 100%. I 100% agree. I think it's important. I think, like you said, to get yourself out there, and a lot of people are scared to do that because I think, you probably remember your first LinkedIn post or putting the first bit of content out on video, and you're like, this is going to go to so many group chats and be like, and I'm like, I think at some point you're just like, I don't give a shit. I'm just going to post it. And I think people tend to respect that a little bit more. I think when people know they're making fun or making a joke, and you've all had that when you go to the pub with your mates, and you've all got a group of mates who aren't maybe entrepreneurs or business, they just work to work and they're not bothered about doing maybe the big things or whatever it is, and that's absolutely fine. But they go to I won't say the word what they call me because it's really bad, but podcast, whatever. I get called it all the time, podcast wanker, every day under the sun. But it's endearing in a way because I know for a fact they're supportive and stuff. But I'm sure you had the same when you started posting stuff.
Yeah, mate, my first video on LinkedIn, I remember I was shaking my second year of uni. Obviously, at uni as well, I was part of the football team. I was a bit of a lad's lad at uni outside of building a business. So you can imagine a football lads, obviously it's all friendly banter, but you can imagine them absolutely ripping into me for it. I got a fair bit, but it's worth it. You do just desensitize to it after a while.
Yeah, 100%. I don't care now. Now it's just I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm getting paid either way. I don't care. Speaking of LinkedIn, biggest LinkedIn ick.
Where do I start? How long have we got?
We've got so long, mate. You take your time. I've got 5 on top of my head already. There's so many.
The first one is probably when an established or when a founder or someone running a business puts a post out that is absolutely nothing to do with anything that they do, but is a hot topic at the moment, and
it's for clout.
Yeah, they're basically doing it for engagement, and it's so clear that they're doing it because they're desperate for likes. If your work is nothing to do with I don't know, what's a good example? like sustainability. Don't just do
Yeah.
a random post on sustainability because you know it's going to get likes. Like
When
so
you're an
many
oil
people do
company
that.
or something,
Yeah, literally. Like,
was it BP?
Yeah,
BP,
and
yeah,
you can
Shell.
you can see it from a mile off that it's like it's desperation for likes. So, yeah, not a fan
That's
of that.
definitely one big one. I've never actually noticed that before. I'm sure you know some more because you're a business owner. And I think you probably see, you probably know
Yeah.
businesses that do it, and it's probably not.
You can see when it's not
authentic.
written by them as well, which is ironic for me to say because like we obviously write a lot of content for CEOs and founders, but you try and write it in a way that doesn't look like it's being written by somebody else.
Of course, yeah.
Whereas sometimes you can just see so blatantly, and you can almost like tell that the same person is writing for this person and this person and this person. It's not a good look.
That's not good. That's definitely an ick. I'm trying to think of. I said one the other day. It was about one of them was about. I don't know if it was an ick. It was more about salaries. So when jobs promote competitive salary,
Yeah.
I was like, what does that mean? Or it's
Yeah.
like when they put in the benefits, it's like free fruit and coffee in the office.
Yeah,
One of
it's
them's
not
like
a benefit.
pension. I'm pretty sure that's a legal requirement. And they put it listed it as benefits.
That
And I
is
was
so
like,
funny.
honestly, it drives me insane. And also when you add someone as a connection and then you get a newsletter straight away after, or you get ad saying, would you like to sign up to our services, please? And they ask you to go to your boss in the company. I'm like, you really messaging me? I'm like the lowest in the totem pole. Like, go to someone else. And
It just looks desperate, doesn't it?
and it's like my LinkedIn DMs are just full. I have to keep every day archiving, like 10 people a day. And it's just, I think as well, the more followers and the more you post as well, that definitely attracts more like spam and stuff like that. I'm sure you get about 100 emails a day of crap.
I mean, my LinkedIn inbox is wild.
Oh, do you not? Oh, do you really? Do you not clear it?
I'm trying to see. There's like some people that I'm trying to have actual conversations with, but it's like trying to pick out the actual conversations in and amongst a sea of just spam and
Just
carnage.
crap. Yeah, no, I 100% agree. LinkedIn's amazing. I'd say like I know a lot of my friends don't use it, and I try and sell it to them, and they're just like it's not for them. But I think I've got most of my jobs off LinkedIn, interviews off LinkedIn. 90% of my podcasts come from LinkedIn messaging or people message me. So I think it's just a great platform. It's like the Facebook for business, and it's changing into something a bit different now as well, like short video form, and people are doing a lot more of that. So I think it's moving in the right direction. I'll be interested to see where it goes.
Yeah,
I don't want it to go down a YouTube route a little bit. I think that's where it's going. I don't know.
It's
That was my Siri. Sorry about that.
Siri's getting involved.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so
Yeah, I think like it's interesting how I think the creator economy is really driving it. You're starting to see heavy influence from the likes of Twitter and TikTok on the kind of content that's being shared on LinkedIn, which I actually think is a good thing. I think Twitter will have a pretty positive influence. Same TikTok maybe. So I think it's definitely going that way, and more people are, even if they're not in the creator economy itself, I think more and more people are seeing the benefit of almost operating as if they were, and using their socials platforms like LinkedIn as like a media platform essentially to share messages, to speak to customers, potential employees, that sort of thing.
there's the TikTok thing. Aren't they trying to ban it in the US at the moment? I think they're trying to ban it somewhere, aren't they?
Was it TikTok or was it Twitter? It got banned in.
Something got banned, but I know they're trying to get rid of TikTok in America at the moment. And I think there's guy I follow on LinkedIn was just saying how it's going to affect creators, and it's just, it'll obviously take a while for it to go through, but I just don't, I think social's just, like you said, it's powerful, but it's also detrimental to a lot of other things as well. It comes with like highs and lows, right?
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, that'll be interesting to see what happens there.
We filmed this episode at the Kurogo Studios. It's the first studio dedicated to personal branding content like Reels, podcasts, and YouTube. You can use it for yourself or have Kurogo's expert team help you. It's based on Fleet Street in central London, and to find out more, visit kurugo.co.uk/studio for more info, or drop me a message.
YouTube, like for your business at the moment, what's like the future? Where do you see it going? What's like the long game, or do you have a long game, or can you say what the long game
It
is?
depends what day. Some like it depends on the hour. But 1 hour, I'll tell you, we're going to become the go-to personal branding agency globally, and the next I'm looking at bar jobs in Fiji. So, yeah.
Fiji, it'd be nice. You know what though? That'd be nice. That'd be really nice.
But no, in all seriousness, we want to become the go-to personal branding agency globally. So when people think of personal branding, we want to be the ones that they think of.
Yeah.
Continue to expand our client base across the world as well as in the UK. Over the next, in the short term, we're definitely seeing video being pushed more and more. Hence why we've got this space. We're in our studio now. We've invested in this space because we see video as being a huge part of personal branding over the next few months. kind of speaks to that influence that TikTok is starting to have on LinkedIn, for example. Also opens us up to like the possibility of doing YouTube, developing podcasts for our clients. I just really think that's the direction that personal branding is going in, especially in the B2B space.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're going to be pushing that a lot more and giving our clients a platform to leverage the power of video. And yeah, want to become the go-to personal branding agency across the world.
It's a great goal. It'll
Yeah.
happen. I guarantee it'll happen. I mean, I can't, yeah, I'm saying
I'll
that. I have no idea, but I'm sure it will happen.
Well, I promise you we'll make it happen.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Do you think podcasts are like, would you say that's more, I know it's become more popular now, there's a medium for like people to use, but do you think in the like, say 5 years, podcasting will be just the new YouTube, essentially, where people just liked, because obviously with Spotify, you can just see the video as well on the like podcast. You don't even have to go to YouTube anymore, which I think will take away a lot from YouTube, right? Because typically I listen to podcasts where it's usually audio because you go on walks in the car, you can't really watch it. But then if I can get a chance, I'm always watching it at home when I'm working. But then again, like you say, Spotify's taking a bit of that platform. But I think, yeah, in a couple of years, I think podcasts will change the game a little bit. I think they already have, to be honest.
It'd be interesting to see if Apple do a similar thing to Spotify where they show video on the podcasts.
They don't do that at the moment.
I don't think they do.
No.
I think
Is that
that'd
Apple
be a game
Music?
changer.
Is that like Apple Podcasts?
Apple
I don't use them that
Podcasts.
much. I don't think it's a big shit.
Yeah, I stay on Spotify.
Spotify all the way, man. Spotify all the way. Follow the podcast that is there.
Awesome. And the benefit of podcasts as well is like, yeah, you get the long form, but I don't think the benefit is actually in the long form. It's in the short form content that you can create off the back of it.
100%.
So from this, we'll easily have like at least 30 clips that we can then distribute across social and rack up tens of thousands of impressions.
Interesting.
From the social content that we get all in an hour of having a conversation. So I think like the short form that you can repurpose from a podcast is like unbelievable.
Yeah, I think there's definitely, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with it. I think there's definitely room for it to grow. It depends which direction it heads in.
What do you use Anchor or how do you?
Yeah, so I used Anchor originally.
Spotify
and then I
bought that, didn't they?
Yeah, so they own that, but then you can't. I mean, I don't use it for sponsors, but you can't get. It's an American-based company, so you can't. If you're UK-based, you can't gain sponsors from it. So I use Buzzsprout. It's like a really good platform. Yeah, I think it's like £10 a month or whatever it is, $10.99. And yeah, you get like hours of footage every month, and you can get sponsors if you have a certain amount of listeners. And yeah, it goes across like 30 platforms, like apps you've never even heard of, like Deezer and like these random music apps. But yeah, it's a great way to like, spread the word, and you see people in other countries listening to your pod, and it's like obviously quite nice to know people in like Germany and California and Australia and stuff are listening to it. I mean, I have no idea why, but it's not that great. But yeah, no, we're still growing, and it's still. I say we're still growing. It's just me, but we've got to hopefully get a team soon and hitting YouTube, and got sponsors and some investment coming. So
amazing.
Yeah, it's gonna be exciting to see. So if anyone's got any dogs, I've got dog collar sponsors. So if you need anything, we'll set you up. Bully Billows, we'll set you up. I guess this question's more. It's a bit of a backwards question, but what's the decision you made that later turned out to be a positive decision, which you thought at the time wasn't going to be a good decision, but you took the risk anyway?
Good question. Do you know what? Actually, I moved to just after I graduated. I moved to Oxford.
Oh, really? Nice.
So I grew up just south of London, went to uni in Birmingham, and then I moved to Oxford. Late 2020. At the time, I didn't really have the business wasn't really running.
Okay.
Like I don't think I had any clients. I didn't have a job, and I had my student loan left over. And that's basically like all I had. So on the surface of it, that's a pretty stupid move. But I went and I worked out like I've got 6 months to live on, right? I can do this for 6 months. Worst comes to worst, 6 months time, I have to move home, live with my mum when I get a job. Like it's not the end of the world.
No,
right?
no, exactly.
It's a pretty cushy position to be in. So I took that risk to an extent. But the reason that was so beneficial is because I knew probably 2 people in Oxford. It was a completely new city. I didn't know anyone there. No distractions whatsoever. It's also an amazing, like beautiful city, which was great. But that time, those 6 months, and I actually stayed there for another 6 after that. So I was there for about a year. The focus I got in that time was unbelievable.
Really?
And was where the business was born. And we very quickly went from no clients to 5 figures a month whilst I was in Oxford. So that time and space was like the best thing that could have happened for me to just focus and like do the work that I needed to do. So yeah, fond memories of that.
But it's that, yeah, it obviously turned out to be a positive in the end. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a nice answer actually.
Brought on our first few team members when I was there, so it was quite a pivotal time. When we go live with this place, because this is not public knowledge as we're recording.
Okay.
I'm sure it will be by the time this goes out. But when we go live with this place, I think this will also be one of the best decisions we've ever made.
Yeah, 100%.
But also a huge risk, investing the money in something that we don't have proof is going to work, but it's something that we'll
trust the process, man. Yeah, 100%. I know it's a great setup. It's a great space and great location as well, which is also amazing.
Do you want to come and do sales for us?
I literally said this morning to my friend. He was telling me how much commission he made on the job, and he was like, "Oh, we did a deal." It was like, I'm hoping he doesn't mind me saying this actually, because I won't tell the company, but he's like, "Oh, I made a deal today or yesterday." It was like 550 grand deal.
Yeah.
Because they work for, it's like, again, it's personal branding, but it's more creative recruitment kind of thing. And he was like, "Oh, how much you make off it?" It's like 5%. I was in the kitchen this morning like, I was like 26 grand. He's like, yeah. He's like, but before tax. I was like, okay. So it's like 12. I was like, oh, I need to do that. And he's like, "You'd be great at sales, mate." And I was like, "I know." I was like, "Sell me this pen." Like Wolf of Wall Street vibes. But it's maybe the route I need to take eventually, because I've probably been told many times I should have gone into recruitment because I can talk, but went into podcasting instead, which is also talking. So I guess on the flip side of that question as well, like, what's like the biggest challenge you faced while building the company, from day one to today? What's the biggest challenge?
So many.
Yeah,
so many.
Or maybe like what's like being like the worst day of the business where you're like, you thought everything was crashing down, and you're like, "Oh shit, this might not work."
It's nearly a year ago actually. I remember it was a bank holiday at the end of May last year. I remember it was a weird situation. A couple of the team had just moved on to start their own businesses. We had a ton of clients that had just come on, which sounds like a weird problem to have. But I was just like,
so much work.
we had way more than we could possibly cope with, and I didn't know like who we were going to hire, how we were going to hire, how we were going to deliver this work, how we were ever going to retain staff. And I remember just being up at like 1 a.m. on a bank holiday, just like head in hands, like what, like how the hell do I solve this? What do I do? So that was one moment. There's been so many days. It's kind of part and parcel of the job. Hiring has been tough, like not necessarily hiring, but learning to lead a team, because I've never had a job, right? I mean, I've done working behind a bar. I've worked in a cheese truck at a festival. It's cheese truck? Unreal job, by the way. Sidetrack.
Is it like actual cheese?
Like cheese toasties.
Oh, not like Baby Bells. No.
So the company called the Cheese Truck, they make like the best toast in the world, and we used to just tour around festivals.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's honestly the best
free
job.
Cheese,
free toasties, and free access to a festival. What more could you want as like an 18-year-old?
That's pretty good actually.
So that's sick. But yeah, like I've never had a job. I've never even had an interview, and then suddenly in the space of 2 years, you go from having no team to think about to having a team of 15, 16, and you've got to interview, hire, train, manage, lead, make sure they're all taken care of. Like very, very difficult thing to learn and do. And I'm still learning to this day. I'm sure I will for a long time. So that's definitely been difficult.
What would you like if you're looking for an employee? What's like something you look for? Like if you're hiring someone, what's like
self-starter? Self-starter is the big thing. So some of those things that I mentioned earlier that I recommend new grads do, those kind of things that we look for in people. Like, have they started their own project on the side, or have they done something to go above and beyond and show that they're different to everybody else? If you just submit a CV and come and do an application, you don't have anything else behind you, it's very unlikely that you're going to get a job at Kurogo.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I'm sure you probably look at the LinkedIn as well straight away. Probably the first thing you do, right?
Well, I mean, most of the people the first like 3-4 hires that we made were all just people that I found on LinkedIn, and I was like, yeah, we need that man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's perfect platform as well. But that is interesting. I'm always curious, because like you think of the future, you're like, what am I going to, like, what do I do right? What do I need to do right? What do I need to say? And like you said before, in interviews as well, people give their best selves for like an hour. And you're not getting a real persona. And I think as well, when I've gone to interviews and they're like, you need to do a presentation, and I've turned down jobs because I'm so nervous about doing a presentation.
Really?
And I'm like, if this is what I have to do, clearly I didn't want the job enough because I didn't want to do the work. But I feel like that's not a true representation of someone because you're rehearsing something before you go into a room and standing. I don't know. I feel like tasks, I've done tasks before in interviews and they've always been a bit more, everyone's got a personal take on it. And then you can almost, you have like half an hour, they give you like a bit of copy.
Yeah.
And they tell you to write like 10 social media posts on it or something like that.
Yeah.
And that feels more relevant. But
we do something with the personal brand managers that we hire, what we say is when you like come to the session, we give them a couple of profiles and we're like, we don't expect them to put loads of work together. We're not expecting presentations, but we want to hear thoughts on what they'd do if they were managing those people's personal brands.
it's a good idea.
The only thing that we're looking for in that process is the thought process.
Okay.
Like we just want to see how they approach it. Do they just go straight in and dive into like micro level hacks and tactics that are kind of like superficial, or do they step back and think longer term about like, right, what does this person do? What are these person's goals? It's that thought process that you're looking for. So, I mean, it's probably the same with other companies.
Yeah.
Chances are they're looking for a thought process rather than a specific answer.
Yes. Yeah. It's like how people work as well.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it's obviously like culture's a big thing too. Like you want to be able, you need to make people, people need to fit together well in a team. Obviously still growing. So like, I mean, I was going to ask you about culture and like how that works, but I guess, we could talk about it, obviously, but I wasn't sure if that was a thing you've had to think about. I know I spoke to Ollie at 303 a couple of months ago on the podcast, and he started it when he was 18 in the company, and he's turning 28 this year. So yeah, He's a 10-year so he started from his bedroom, so he's not actually had a job. And then he's now got like 20, 30 employees at his company, and it's like, he's like, mate, we're still figuring out the culture because we don't know. And he said, obviously, we had 10 people. There wasn't really a culture. Now it's starting to grow. When we're 100, it's going to be even more important. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm sure you guys have like great socials and team days out, all that stuff. So
you go through different evolutions as well. Like the Kurogo from this time last year is not the same Kurogo as it is today.
Okay.
Like we're a completely different company. We work with slightly different people. The way we work is slightly different. And you have to constantly evolve and realize that the culture that you had as a 3-person team is probably not the same culture you're going to have as a 6-person team.
Exactly. Yeah.
So as you develop, I think you have to realize that like you should still have this like core almost DNA that stays the same, but the culture can evolve slightly and should evolve as your business evolves as well. So yeah, we're constantly like, when we've grown quite quickly as well, so we're constantly trying to figure out like what is the next evolution of Kurogo and what culture does it need.
And there's not like a magic book you can buy that tells you, because every company is different, right? And every industry is different. So I think it's figuring out what works and what doesn't. And I guess, like you said, it's constantly changing. So yeah very much, not I was going to say a problem, but it's very much something to solve constantly. But earlier, we asked about, the most stressful day of work. What's a career high that you can like pick out straight away? Like, like that was like a good day at work.
Oh, good question.
Or like sign a big client.
Signed my dream client about a month ago. Can
you say who they are or?
No.
No, that's fine.
I can't say who they are. I can tell you after. I signed my dream client about a month ago.
Amazing. That's a good feeling, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I've wanted to get them for a long time. Someone that I massively look up to in business and want to emulate a lot of things that they do. Went from them telling me our work wasn't good enough to them being a client in the space of 2 weeks. So that was like a low to a high, which is quite funny. But yeah, that's definitely a high.
That's funny. Speaking of like brands and clients, is there any brands that like stand out to you that you like love, like you've taken inspiration from or you've grown up liking? I'm sure there's plenty of. Obviously, there's plenty that are good, but is there anything that stands out?
There's loads of businesses that I like specific parts of them and admire what they do. I think I'd say Genflow. If you've ever heard of Genflow, is an amazing brand. I think what they've done is so smart in the like creator economy. What they've done with influencers, so they basically like partner with famous influencers and help them build brands that they can basically monetize, right? So they take people with big audiences.
I Love Island people and stuff like that.
Possibly there might be some Love Island people. They've worked with like Mike Thurston, Grace Beverly, KSI, Logan Paul.
Oh wow!
They've
got big clients
like Ali Abdaal. They've worked with these huge
some
people.
Of the biggest people. And,
if you look at their website, it's nuts the people they've worked with.
Where are they based? Are they London based?
London based, yeah, nice. But like also global.
Interesting. Next podcast guest.
So Shan Hanif is the CEO.
Okay, cool.
He would be an unbelievable podcast guest because They're $100 million agency, and this guy's built it in like 7 years or something. And
How old is
he? I think he's early 30s, maybe mid 30s at a guess. I don't know. But yeah, very, very cool business, and I would like to emulate a lot of the things they've done.
That's insane. What Genflow?
Genflow, yeah. They're in the B2C world. If we could emulate that in the B2B world, that'd be unbelievable.
That's so cool. Yeah, we'll talk after about that. I'm always looking for more guests, so that's amazing. So yeah, that's good. I was gonna say I wasn't sure if you were gonna say Gymshark because I read an article you did.
Gymshark's
last
a cool
October,
business.
November, or I think
Possibly.
And they were like, "What's a brand you?" Oh, it was like, "What if you could like hear or read an autobiography?" I think it was like Ben Francis Gymshark.
Ben Francis would be cool.
Yeah.
I think because what he did something really smart was obviously he founded Gymshark, but then as they grew, he realized he wasn't the right person to be the CEO, put his ego aside, stepped down, worked in lots of different senior roles across the company, got all the experience, and then stepped back into CEO role.
I remember hearing that. I thought he was like supply chain, he was in finance.
So smart.
And he was like, I don't even know what I'm doing. It was like crazy how you don't realize how many elements that go into a business. And Gymshark's massive.
Yeah.
Absolutely
What
massive.
most people would have done in that situation is let their ego get in the way, say, no, I'm the founder, I have to be the CEO forever.
Yeah.
And then basically self-sabotage. But
yourself,
he put it away, so.
No, Gymshark, absolutely killing the game. I think they're definitely a brand, that I want to go down to the Regent Street store. Is that close by the way?
Yeah, it's not far.
Is it not
Maybe
far?
like 20 minutes.
That's too far. Mate, it's too hot. I'm wearing a black t-shirt in London. I've already spilled coffee down my leg this morning. So, no, I think that I'll check them out then, Jennifer. I think I've definitely heard of them. But yeah, I guess a lot of people see like the face, like you said, KSI, Logan Paul, but they don't see people think it's them, and it's actually they've got a whole team behind them.
Yeah.
Grace Beverly, same as well. She's got a podcast too. Actually, I need to listen to it. I don't know if it's any good. I'm sure it is. We've got a few more questions. We spoke about personal branding. How important is personal branding? Like, is it the be all end all for, say, a marketer, or do they like say I know people don't have LinkedIn or LinkedIn presence, they don't have social media, they're very much off the grid, but they're still, they have a phone, but they don't take the time. They think it's a waste of time promoting themselves. Yeah. Do you think that's just maybe like a generational thing where like people coming up from like graduating now, you see like a lot of people, like younger people, we say younger because we're quite young, but people maybe in the 30s and 40s are less, I don't really see them as post as much. It's more like a 20s thing. I don't know if that's right or not.
Well, we're a social media generation, aren't we? So like there's definitely a generational element to it. I hate it when the personal branding industries say you have to have a personal brand and like you can't succeed without a personal brand because like, it's just factually incorrect. There's thousands of businesses that are wildly successful and you would not even know any of the people running them, and that's deliberate. So like I'm not going to lie and say a personal brand is essential for success. Factually, it's not.
No.
However, I don't think anyone can deny that having more people know who you are, like you, trust you, and see you as an expert in your space wouldn't be useful.
Yeah.
Like, I can't imagine a world where that wouldn't be beneficial.
100%.
So it makes you think, imagine if these people that have built wildly successful businesses without a personal brand, imagine what they'd be like if they did have one.
Exactly, yeah. And it's also like authentic, right? Like people, like 20 years ago, to speak to the CEO, you'd have to write a letter or go down to the office, go to the PA and give him something and hopefully he sees it. Yeah. Now you can literally, I messaged Steve Bartlett on Instagram. I liked one of his posts and he commented. I was like, this is Steve Bartlett.
It's
like,
wild,
he's got like millions of followers. And like Ross Edgley, the Great British Swimmer, he posted something on his Instagram and I didn't get tickets for it. And I just commented like as a joke, like, oh, Ross, mate, I didn't get tickets. And he was like, oh, Sim, my bro. And he's got like 1 million followers. Like, this guy's a Gymshark athlete. But it's so easy to message people now. Like, there's that barrier's gone, that hierarchy's gone as well. And like said earlier about getting podcast guests, LinkedIn, just go straight to the CEO. Originally, you go to the PA, you go to the hiring manager. Now it's just like, nah, I'm just going to message the CEO. Like Alan Bartlett from Grenade messaged him. He read it in a minute. Didn't reply, but I saw he saw it.
He read it.
I was like, I see that. And he's built one of the biggest brands in the UK, like Grenade. It's literally insane. So I think there's definitely, that kind of walls come down a bit. And I think, like I said, personal branding has probably helped with that, where people feel like they know the CEO now. They know, like, I know we say Steve Bartlett a lot, but people feel like they know him. They see him. They see he puts content out all the time, every week. And and like conversation, people are like, oh yeah, I was listening to Steve podcast. I'm like, who? Like, oh, Dara CEO. He's like, yeah, like call him Steve. He's like, it's like mate, but they feel like they know him because obviously that's the way he's framed it. He's a very smart guy. Obviously, he knows what he's doing. And then speaking about podcasts, I know you mentioned Genflow, but if you could recommend someone for a podcast or this podcast, is there anyone you can think of who'd be good, or you'd like to hear like their story and their journey?
Very good question. Anyone in the world?
Anyone. You could be actually anyone.
Do you know what? I'd love to hear. Do you know football?
Yeah.
Do you know Matthew Flamini?
Not really, but good.
He used to play for Arsenal. But
Okay.
he now has this like £1 billion company, but people don't realise it. And he used to just make way more from being an entrepreneur than he did a footballer.
No.
Which
He
I
owns a
think
£1
is
billion company.
yeah, I think it's something that you might want to fact check that, but I'm pretty sure that's right.
Where is he based?
I mean, he's French, but I don't know where the company's based now.
We'll get him on.
But I imagine like I remember reading that he was like one of the richest footballers ever, but not because of his football wage, but because of the business. I'd love to hear his story.
That'd be cool. That'd be really cool.
wicked.
Well, it's like Ronaldo. Ronaldo makes more from Instagram than
Yeah.
he does off. Is it like £1 million a post or something?
Bonkers that.
That's ridiculous.
Bonkers. And his wage is healthy.
I'd say it's definitely. I mean, my wage is healthy. His is ridiculously healthy.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Oh my.
Someone like that would be cool.
Yeah, that would be cool actually. But I think because I think you definitely get with podcasts and guests, people get pigeonholed a little bit where there's a football podcast or a cricket podcast or a marketing podcast, and I think again like Steve Bartlett does a great thing of having everyone on. There's no like this is just CEOs, this is just authors. It's like a bit of everything.
Ryan Reynolds would be good.
He'd be amazing.
I would love to see Ryan Reynolds on a podcast, not taking a piss, but actually like, because he is a smart man. Like, he
Rex
knows
FC
what he's
is
doing.
absolutely
Like,
killing it.
He's a genius. I'd love to like get an insight into his marketing mind and how he thinks.
I wonder if I don't think apparently that's just his personality. That's what he's just like all the time. His wife was like, people say he's like always funny. He's just always like that at home. Apparently, he's always doing weird things. I'm like, I don't think he could ever be serious. But he'd be amazing to sit down with Rex.
I want to I want to understand how he approaches business and marketing, like
because he's got his aviation gin brand as well, and I'm sure he's got like Mint Mobile.
He sold Mint Mobile for like billions, wasn't it?
Some
or hundreds of millions, I think.
And I think like he said, I saw the other week in an article. He was like Wrexham FC will be in the Premier League. It might take 2 years, it might take 20, but we'll be there. Yeah. And I'm like,
I'll do well
no
to
doubt.
do it in 2.
I think they'll be there in 2 or 3 years. I mean,
it's not possible, is it?
I don't know. Leeds have just dropped down. So by tomorrow they'll be dropping down.
What are they going into? League 2?
Yeah, unfortunately, we deserve it though.
Championship. 3 years. 3 years for Wrexham to get into the Prem.
3 to 4 years, 3 to 5 years.
That would be one of the craziest stories ever.
But Ryan Reynolds, okay, we'll message him after.
Ryan, can we
Well, you never know. Instagram's a beautiful place, so we'll have to see. What is the future for you? I know we spoke about the future of the company, but would you have like any life ambitions, goals, travel?
Yeah. So
marriage, girlfriend, dogs.
Probably all of that.
Yeah, that's soon to come.
Next few years are pretty much dedicated to business and building the business. I imagine like I'm the kind to settle down and be a family man.
Yeah.
Once the time comes.
It's 22.
23. We're about to turn 24. 23. I'll probably be 24 when this goes
live. I literally said this morning again, going off topic, but I was like, how you grew this business? I was like, he grew this business like 17 people, and he's like, how old is he? He's like, he's 23, and my mate was like. It's like, boo. I was like, mate, I don't like. Honestly, I remember messaging you originally, and I was like, this guy's like in his like late 20s, 30s, he's older than me. I was like, he's 20 fucking 23, mate. Yeah. Honestly, that's not even me blowing smoke up your ass. It's a massive achievement. Like it's insane. Like
this is very kind.
This is really cool. Yeah, can have a job.
Someone you sold us quite well.
But yeah, no. I thought I even asked you then the last question.
Just what I'm going to be doing in my life.
Yeah.
I imagine I'll constantly be building businesses until the day I die. I don't think I'll ever stop working because it's just I get bored.
Yeah, so, no, that's so fair. I think there's and if you get a dog, let me know. Get your collar.
Yeah, I'll be getting 2 dogs. I imagine.
Really? Yeah. Nice.
4 dogs, no kids.
Mate, no kids in this climate. I'll tell you that.
I'm going to be in trouble for saying that.
Yeah. Would she listen to this as well? Yeah.
No, she won't. Actually.
Would she not?
She won't.
It's like, let's do this podcast, but you won't listen to it. Shit. Yeah, it's fine. It's this guy called Simple Toys. Just can't really talk very well. No, that is funny. I think there's like you said, being busy. I like that. I think it's hard to plan. I don't even know what's happening next year.
That's the thing. Like realistically, I'm a 23, 24-year-old with no idea about how life and how it works, so I can't really predict where I'm going to be in 10.
No. It's impossible. I don't think anyone knows, to be honest. And I think the way the world's going as well is very much unpredictable.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, amazing. And then this question, this is the last question, but we ask every guest this, and I probably need to change it because none of them can ever answer. If there's one thing you can change about the world, what would it be?
Oh my God.
I didn't tell you about this one before. Sorry. Take your time, man. Take your time.
A lot. Slow walkers. I just abolished.
I think that's because
slow
you're in
walkers.
London, to be honest. That's definitely a London problem only. It's geographical.
If I could change anything about the
It can
world,
literally be anything. It could be selfish reasons. It could be selfless. It could be.
I obviously like the selfless one is obviously going to be like equality. I don't want to give like a generic equality.
No, but
solve world hunger. One of those examples.
Other people
I'd
have said
probably
like
give that.
giving like taking away like the fear of like doing stuff, or maybe people a bit kinder or whatever it is, or like people don't be less focused on like the phones and be more in like present. But I don't know. There's so many examples.
Oh yeah, I think. Yeah, people not living experiences through their phones. I hate it. Right, I'm going to sound like a granddad here, but you know when people go to like concerts and festivals, they've paid like 300 quid for that festival ticket, and then they go up to the stage, and they get the phone out, and they film the whole thing, and they watch this live performance through their screen. That's that big. Like I just think that should be banned.
It's so
like
stupid,
that frustrates me, and
yeah.
I think it just like speaks to our generation who want to capture every moment rather than just living it and enjoying that experience in the moment.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to capture everything and keep it filmed for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
You can just live it and have it as a memory.
It's funny. Do you see that picture, the basketball picture from 2 months ago with the owner of Nike, and everyone's taking the pictures, and he's just sat there like that.
Yeah.
And he's just enjoying the moment. Because obviously for him, it's just like that's his brand, right? That's his. Is it who was playing? Was it?
I have no idea.
I was going to say Michael Jordan, but he didn't play anymore. I can't remember his name. LeBron or whatever it was.
Sure.
And it's just like he was just watching it. It was an amazing picture, and everyone else has got the phone out, and he just sat there at the front, like enjoying his life.
Yeah, everyone should live like that.
Yeah, that's a really good answer actually. Everyone like that, and I think. I mean, no one's going to probably take the advice, but like, it's fine.
Try it. If you're listening to this, just try it. Try it for like one concert or a sports match or something, and it would change your world.
Just try and enjoy it. Yeah, no, live in the moment. Perfect. It's a great end to a podcast. But thank you so much, mate, for coming on. Really appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having me.
Nice one, man.